Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We've made it to Act 2. And this episode gonna see how much we can clear of the eastern side of town. Used to be pretty easy because there wasn't a lot. You had the Chamber of Sins, of course, for the boss fight and getting the baleful gem. And of course there was the defeating of Kraton. But that was pretty much it. There was no reason to go to the crypt. If you already had a decent belt, then going into the den wasn't that exciting either. But that's all changed because there's now 2 trials of Ascendancy in Act 2. In the crypt and on the 2nd level of the Chamber of Sins. So that's gonna add a little bit of extra time to our run here, especially getting to the crypt level 2. So we're gonna have a look and see how it's gonna work out. Hello there, Mr. Nice. You're the big version of my little Stone Golem. Life is still pretty darn good. Enemies actually hit me infrequently enough that the little bit of energy shield I've got frequently has a chance to regenerate while I'm in the middle of fighting a unique boss. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I did do some recrafting of my rings in order to boost my resistances when I am not using endurance charges. Just to get my base resists up to a decent level, so then that way I will never get caught unaware by elemental damage. Because it's kind of annoying if you rely on your endurance charges to fix your resistance problems. It's okay early on in the game, but you want to remedy that situation as soon as possible. So we'll just smash through most things and just run past most things. But a group of enemies like that was relatively easy to pick up. Let's see. They got wisdom. I like wisdom. Wisdom is good. It helps you keep your build alive. If you get too much wisdom, then you start to sound like the fortune cookie texts that they read out on the monoliths next to the entrance of the trials. So that's a little bit of a warning. If you don't want to sound like a fortune cookie, don't get too wise. Let's see. Where is my waypoint? Let's see. Level up, level up. Just jump in the middle. So a situation like this, try to go for the ranged attackers because the meleeers will follow you anyway and walk into the earthquake. So let's see, we were going up here in order to get Amplify and its buddies. So boosting our life a bit. I lost a little bit of life that was on the rings, also replaced my helmet. But I lost about 100 points of life in the upgrade process, but I did gain more resistances and also more armor from it. So I think it's worth it. Because in the end, your armor and your resistances, they amplify how much use your life pool is. So it's always good to just get some points there. I still have to do a re-evaluation of the build, since I've been growing it organically. I picked up the totem, which I actually forget to cast quite frequently. And I picked up Sunder because it was the first skill that was not ground slam, because I know ground slam doesn't work for me. It's too cone shaped, and Sunder is just nice because it just hits whatever you want. But ever since I got Earthquake, of course, Sunder has been fallen out of favor. I rarely use it. Basically only use it when there's enemies further away that I want to hit. But in all other situations, Earthquake is good enough. So I might actually just drop Sunder out of the build. That will free up an entire 4-socket item. Potentially a 5 or a 6 link even. That I can do something with that's more productive. The Golem could be buffed, for example. The Protector, maybe I could do more with it. I could add a cast when damage taken setup. I've currently got a Vengeance with life gain on hit. And I think that's actually the only thing that I'm gonna be able to get, because Reckoning requires a shield. And Riposte requires that you be able to block. And of course with a two-hander you cannot block unless it is a staff. So my original plan of just adding all 3 trigger nodes kind of fell through once I realized that I can only use 1 out of 3. But Vengeance is still an awesome skill. But some cast when damage taken love might not be a bad idea. I mean, a build like this, Molten Shell could actually work because I'm already amping up armor very much. It's actually gonna be pretty good to just keep doing that. Wait, how much mana am I using here? 16. That's more than either of my other attacks. Still trying to find a way to increase my mana usage. Just jumping like a maniac might actually be useful. So we don't want 8% increased attack speed, so you die. And we're just gonna Earthquake and follow him. Oh, Sparkling Claw. Sorry, I always get distracted by loot. Quarterstaff. Oh, you're not created, but I'll kill you anyway. Here, I have a totem. So Kraden comes across as a bit restless now. He tries to flee from combat. He's a bit divided between me and the Golem. I think that's a good thing. I mean, if he's constantly harassing you... Well, for this build doesn't matter since I basically didn't feel any damage. If you got a more fragile build, you might not want to have a shadow type constantly trying to poke holes in you. Keep yourself unholy, so to say. Let's see, we can just quickly sort this one away. And then it's time to move on. So, we killed Kraden, that's one part. Let's not go through portal, let's go through here. So, we have both sides of the road to do. We have plenty of time to do it. Chamber of Sins first, because it has the most. I've also upgraded my life potions to hallowed life potions because they are way bigger. Their base healing is 1990, I believe. And I've got one bubbling potion of staunching, so it has a 50% insta heal, so I get 500 instant healing and then another 500 over time. And it has bleeding fixing, and the other one actually restores more life over a longer time, and it fixes burning. So those are two useful things to have, especially since burning is now part of the trials. It's a condition that you will encounter more frequently, so I figured it might be useful to bring it along. Though with my life regen being pretty much through the roof, I'm currently got 144 life per second. That is of course under the influence of the Golem, but it's not amplified by Enduring Cry, which actually has a very brief duration, so let's actually forget about that as a relevant factor. But the Golem boosts me to quite a nice number. But it also means of course that the amount of healing I'm going to get from a potion, I mean this adds 3000 life over 12 seconds. That's about 250 life per second. So my current regen is more than half of the regen that a potion gives me. So that I'd say that that's pretty decent. It's almost like having half a potion active at all times. Ooh, artisan strongbox. Let's clear out some things. It's not quite a gem cutter, but it might be useful. Let's see, a couple more extra items, 4 additional 8 items, revise with onslaught, ignites me, and explodes. Jolly goodness. Okay, let's take a little bit of distance, let it explode or revive the things. Here. Boom. And we get a bunch of armorer scraps and blacksmith whetstones, which are very useful to have, especially in larger quantities once you start finding unique items that you want to add quality to, or rares, because you need to sink 20 of the suckers in to get it to 20% quality if you start off with an item that's not white. Blues only take 10, but that's also one of the reasons why crafting your own items is such a nice thing to do, because you can just use 4 of the quality items to boost it to the maximum of 20%, and after that you start rarefying it and whatnot. Let's see. Yo guys. 2 stone ring, it's only 12%. A little bit of quality. It's a mana flask. I don't care about mana flask. Sorry. I got my mana flask, and given that I'm basically regenerating too much life for that, even, or too much mana for that, I doubt I'm gonna need more. I need more expensive skills, that's what I need. Okay, actually, I think I got enough of these. Ancient Greaves, level 46. I think this is a new winner. Just have to remember to not sell them. So I've got a very little bit of life leeching as well from, I think, from one of the passives. I seem to have no issues staying alive. Actually, I don't have leeching. Oh wait, I'm completely confusing myself. Yesterday I did a bunch of theory crafting with a friend of a shadow, a dual claw shadow, using Soul Reef to use Life Leech to keep its energy shields full. And that's where the Life Leech came in. So, sorry for the confusion, this one doesn't have a leech yet because, well, with all the regen going on we don't actually need it yet. Of course, doing it now 1000 DPS and then the second hit actually doing even more damage might not be a bad idea to start thinking about leech, because it's 1% leech is 10 life, which actually doesn't sound like much, but if there's 10 enemies to hit. Okay. Oh, this is triple Volt Binders. Haven't seen these guys before. Didn't get an achievement for that. Perandus Cash. Okay. Oh wait, that's only 10. I thought it said 100. It's slightly less than that. Okay. Oh, 20 coins is decent. It's not 100, but it's decent. Wait, there's Black Death probably here. Yeah, hello Spidey. Itsy bitsy spider. And the Crimson Raiment. Yeah, one of the other things I've added is Granite Flask with some extra armor. It's a low roll, it can go up to 100%, but still pretty decent. So this will buff my armor to 13,000. So I've got 87% physical damage reduction, and that is without endurance charges or accounting for Fortify. So I should be capped on physical damage reduction, because I don't think you can get yourself immune to damage this way. Though, if you consider the damage reduction versus life regen, I might as well be functionally immortal against certain enemies. Let's do a very quick emptying of pockets here. Then we can just move on without a care. You ID, yes. All damage, different damage types that are not actually, or item types that aren't relevant. And let's put this in the sorting bucket that I've actually cleaned out for a change. And then it's time to move on. Chamber of Sins. So there will be a trial and there will be a dude. So we're gonna look for the dude first because he's the mostly reliable of the two to find. And we might find the trial on the way, and otherwise we will just clear part of the level. Let's see, skeletons, more items, random curse, firestorm. Okay, we can do without. Hello everybody, here. Great mallet, that's... And a crescent staff that has 5 sockets. Of course it's a staff that has 5 sockets, why wouldn't it? On the other hand, this mallet now has the level that is good. Just don't have the currency to reliably roll it to 5 sockets. Hey, hello there, Mr. Physical Reflect. Just look at my life regen, not caring about the Physical Reflect. I really enjoy it. Now, I think Reflected got its bad name from back in the old days when if you had a rare that had Physical Reflect, it actually gave that Reflect as an aura to, I think, all nearby enemies. So, especially if you were doing AoE, it would not be just one enemy that would reflect a percentage of the damage you inflicted, but it would be the entire pack and possibly multiple adjacent packs as well. So if you hit an earthquake into 20 enemies that all reflect part of the damage, then of course that's gonna hurt a lot more than if it's just a single enemy. Okay. Got some blue Perandus boys. The Golden Horde, as I dubbed them last episode. Also, we are standing in the middle of consecrated ground. But we have a chance of gaining... Oh, we have to be on the other side. But we have a chance of gaining whenever we get hit, I believe. Yeah, well, whenever I take a critical strike. Hello there, Felicitas. Here, have a totem. Have my totem again. And he's pretty much dead. Holy chainmail, that's a Templar item. Let's grab the stone and then we go grab our loot from the Perandus cache. That was a bit located on the wrong side of the wall. Well, we will go here for loot, and it's the coffers, so this is very much worth it. So we don't have any coins on us, so we can just grab or whatever and then have a look. So the other day, a friend actually had a very tempting deal from Mr. Kadiro Perandus, and he was offered the Edge of Madness unique sword with a higher level character. 92 coins, that's pretty decent. Problem was, it was a 5,000 coin deal, and he didn't have 5,000 coins on him. Oh, I don't think he actually found 5,000 coins at all. Neither have I, for that matter. I'm at 1,200 now. So, yeah, he can get really nice things. I mean, Edge of Madness, he was playing I think a Viper Striker actually at that point in time. So Edge of Madness was a really good fit for the build as well. Because Edge of Madness is a sword that does physical damage and chaos damage. and it also has scaling physical and chaos damage as a percentage that goes up with your player level. So it's a very nice sword that will scale quite a long way and therefore stay relevant for quite a while. But unfortunately, if you can't afford it, then no deal. So inspired by that, as well as the fact that I never seem to get decent deals, or no, not never, but it's less frequent when I get good deals from Mr. Kadira Perandus. So I just keep saving up my coins, and eventually I'll do something fun with them. It would be pretty cool to find something like an Edge of Madness, or I think people have been raving about the Kerubi Urki two-handed mace. It's perfectly suitable for Earthquake because it actually has a level 15 increased area of effect skill gem built into it. So you can effectively get a 7 link. Let's see what he's got to offer. Okay, a rare unset ring. Well, I haven't found any unset rings yet, so might as well. But it's gonna be more of a novelty thing than useful. Mana regen, physical damage to attacks, cold damage to attacks, a little bit of cold resistance, 6 mana on kill. So if there's one thing I don't want, it's mana regen or mana on kill. Because of this lovely thing, Zervi's Last Breath. It's already not using enough mana as it is. And yeah, it still feels strange to say that. Ooh, smash. Boom. Okay. They were not quite suitably impressed. Also, Golem. Go respawn. If I were a trial, where would I hide? And it's here. Excellent. So I think this is the second time where I've had a layout that you had. Most of the time the trial is always up. It's always this bit with the corridor and then taking a corner to the room. This is a fixed template. It's always that way. So that's why I tend to go towards the top of the map. So since there's a very large chance it will spawn as a side bit or somewhere in the top of the map. But the trial being here, basically in this relation to it, I think this is the second time I've seen it on a character. So it might be that this is a pattern. So I seem to have jumped into the ball. Less than useful. Okay. Time to crank. Interesting. So that is a mechanic that you did see in the labyrinth, but it was not in the previous trials. So this is to just delay this for a bit. Got a locked door. Usually means there's a key somewhere. Also, let's actually try out the damage. Okay, that wasn't that severe actually. From 790 to 16 something? 15 something. That's about 200 health. Basically that means you can just put a running flask and just run. Okay, that opens that door. Okay. If you don't have the Quicksilver, it's gonna be slightly less painful. More painful, I mean. Okay. So what if you put on a granite flask? Let's see. Still about 1600 granite. Actually took more damage. Interesting. Time to stop being a mad scientist here and just go for it. timing on stopping them was maybe slightly less than stellar. Open the door back if we need it. I suppose that's for team play situations. You can open the door for your friends to come through. So you can do a divide and conquer.
There is a fine line between consideration.
So this is the second one, or the third one actually. So you're supposed to do the crypt before this. Let's see. I think this is gonna be a good point to call it, and we'll do the crypt in the next episode. And then afterwards we're gonna continue with the west side of town, which actually doesn't have all that much going for it either. So, Creighton and the Chamber of Sins, that was it for this episode. Next time, the crypt and the west side. So, hope you enjoyed this, and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.